connecting with people. It's making them feel really comfortable and really good. You ever walk into our space, it's our home. We treat you how we think you should be treated.
It's hard enough to open up a restaurant as it is, let alone moving across the world to do it. Today we're going to meet Gregory and Naomi of Hartsyard, who have done just that. Here we are in Enmore at Hartsyard Seed and Feed with owners and family operators Naomi and Gregory. Thanks for having us in your restaurant.
No problem.
Basically I want to go straight to where you guys met. How did you guys meet? And tell us the story.
Yeah, I had just moved back from working overseas for about a year and a half, and I moved back to New York City at a restaurant working in Midtown, and Naomi would work there.
I moved to New York in 2002 and told my parents that I'd be back in 6 months, and I came back 8 years later with a husband. We dated in secret for about 8 months and then announced that we were going to get married and that we were going to leave the restaurant. We moved to LA for 18 months and Gregory ran that before moving back here.
So keeping it a secret, I guess, in hospo is almost virtually impossible.
Right, we did it.
We got
Was it
caught.
the cool room kind of tap on the ass going, hey, babe, and kind of walking out? Or?
There was no ass tapping at work.
We used to.
I'm just ass looking.
We used to.
What were the struggles that you weren't ready for compared to America in terms of opening and building a place?
When you're very passionate about something and cooking is sort of like, that's what you do, it's the other things surrounding that you don't really think of. It's the managing the people, it's, you know, making sure you have funds.
We were under-resourced, you know, an hour before service the oven breaks or the dishwasher breaks mid-service, or those things become the bigger issues.
Yeah. What would you like to see more of in the dining scene?
I would love to see a 24-hour diner. Like patty melts, milkshakes. It's such a familiar thing to do where I'm from. I mean, you buy stuff from the market and it looks fresh, and you bring it to your restaurant and it's shit in like 3 days, whereas I can cut herbs from the garden that last for 2 weeks.
What it did allow Gregory to do was to grow specific things that were difficult, and so we were able to plant 6 different mints.
Strawberries, bronze fennel, Chinese artichokes, the list goes on.
It allowed you to experiment, to grow, you know, flowers, edible flowers for the cocktails, things like that, that are added levels of service that you want to provide, but are sometimes tricky to pull off.
Well, tell us about the Gretz. What is the Gretz?
I've always wanted like a neighborhood sort of restaurant, and I've always wanted a neighborhood sort of drinking establishment, you know, where it's not a pub, it's not a bar, it's just something in the middle, you know, and offering a food that is not your typical sort of, you know, spiced nuts and you know, popcorn and stuff like that.
I've not been ever to the States, but I envision that's what one of those corner bars or one of those kind of New York bars resembled. Is that a big influence?
Of course. I mean, I'm an American. That's where I draw my sort of inspiration from, and I just live in Sydney, you know.
And that's, you know, the table service aspect of it that we have up there, we love, because there's nothing better than not having to get up and get a second drink.
What's the key to being open for 3 years now?
When people eat here, it's our job to make you happy. It's our job to feed you well. It's our job to make sure you're enjoying yourself. I also think it's being consistent, you know? Like, how does, you know, a po' boy sandwich that we have had on the menu since day one, we've made changes to make it better, but it's essentially never changed.
Yeah,
but
so
how do you get the oyster crispier? How do you find a better oyster? How do you make the buns a little bit fluffier so when you toast them, just a bit crusty?
And we work really hard on the staff side of things to make them feel appreciated and challenged and curious and involved and invested.
What's the mission statement that you guys kind of run with?
The one we've got for Heartsyard is that good food creates good memories.
It's recognizing people as soon as they walk into your little 4 walls. It's holding the door for people, it's eye contact. If you can't do anything right away, I'll be with you in 1 minute, or it's as simple as that.
And it's why I like to serve people, because you can see that you're giving them an experience.
Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Forage. It's very
Thank you
humbling
for
to have you. Get to the Gretz if you haven't yet for a couple of drinks and probably the best bar food in Sydney. And if you haven't been to Hartsyard, don't wait as long as I did. Get down here.
Have customers coming in and they'd like start reading the menu and they'd kind of be like, duck, pear and gnocchi. How does that work on a pizza? I'm like, it's when you're not getting pizza here tonight.